Okay, hi everybody. This is a very impromptu video going quickly over most of the features in BeeBase. So BeeBase, if you haven't already read the message attached to this link, is a library that essentially aims to combine all of those common generators you'll see people using Discord commands for in the FTC Discord, or just parts that are really annoying to dig for in the normal parts lib. So I'll start with the main folder. You've got all of your different little organizations here, and then you've also notably got these feature scripts and parts libraries. So the configurable part color feature script, I'll just give a quick overview. If you're familiar with the part color feature script that most people use in Onshape, this is basically a version of it that lets you use the configuration panel to edit a hex code input, which is pretty nice. It's used in a lot of these actually. The common materials library, if you assign materials in your CAD, you'll find this really nice. It has things like carbon fibers, your FabWorks steels, and other common materials that aren't by default in Onshape. And then this is the, if you're familiar with the T-Lamps feature scripts for you FRC kids, this is just the Cheez-It feature script that allows you to do standard grid pocketing. Um, you can look at the examples in this folder for that as well. Let's start with utility in terms of the folders we're going over. So utility, pretty simple, is just common random things that we didn't really find another organization for that got thrown in here. So we have Cubilda extrusions with configurable length, screws with configurable length, head type, thread nibbling, all that kind of thing. Standoffs with all the major brand standoffs that we could find, aside from Churro. Sorry, didn't want to CAD the Churro pattern. We've got washers, just a little 3D print washer, pretty thin, just a nice way to have something to brace your bolts against if you don't want to buy Go-Builder washers. And then bearings, which is all the major kinds of bearings you'll find that you'll be using in your CAD in a configurable document. So you can just pull it from one assembly and then change the configuration. And it does have the 12 millimeter ID servo city bearings in there as well, which is pretty nice. Spacers, you guys have probably used the Looney Squad configurable spacers. This is just our version of that with adjustable hex code, so you can input a hex code for the color you want, and it should give you a spacer of that color. Motors and servos. So these are all the major motor and servo types in two configurable documents, which you can pull from in your CAD pretty easily without having to dig through a million parts lib folders. And then we also have the Looney Squad low profile encoder caps, which have been pulled from LooneyLib and dumped here. It's annoying to open the Looney Squad website or do a command every time you want to find that, so that's why that's here. We've got B parts. This is basically parts that I have personally used on my bots in one capacity or another that I see people asking for a lot, so I just dumped them in here. Um, these are anecdotal things. I've used these on my bots. Can't say that they'll work great for you or that there's not issues with them. That's why it says beta on the folder. We have a folder for wheels as well. We've got all the intake wheels, all the mechanism wheels, all the random wheels, and all the omni wheels from GoBuilda. And then we also have, because I've seen this requested a lot, a mechanism wheel set up for dead axle with an HDD pulley. It's configurable for 8 rex and 6 millimeter round standoffs, different pulley sizes, different pulley teeth counts, all of those things. And you can just access that through the insert tool pretty nicely instead of having to make your own or make a new one every single time you'd like to do something different. This is the base folder in my opinion. It's got all the major transmission generators. So you've got belt, um, you've got chain, which is actually really nice. It's a version of the Immons feature script with center to center base generation, and it'll generate a composite part with a chain for you. A gear generator, which is based on GearLab. Um, there's no thumbnail here for some reason, but it's basically just a Part Studio with GearLab built into it, so you don't have to use the feature script to generate a gear every time yourself. We've got the pulley gen from Looney Squad that we've modded to include GT2 belts as well, which is quite nice if you ever need to, for some reason, print a GT2 belt. And then shafts, which is all your 8 rex, 12 rex, D shafting, round shafting, all of those major things, as well as 5 millimeter hex. We've got some example CAD using some of the parts from BeeBase. I won't go over these too much. You can just look into them if you want to. Linear motion, this is another one that I'm really happy with. We've got MGN Rails, which can suck to find CAD for, but we've got them here. There's a version where you can input any rail size you want, and then also the HWin approved standard rail sizes if you're looking for that specifically. We've got configurable Vipers, configurable Mizumi inserts. Again, these are anecdotal parts there. Those are just the ones I've used in my experience. I have no idea if they'll work for you. And then BWT slides. So the BWT step file kind of sucks to work with because it drops in all the ball bearings, all this other stuff, and also the thread mate connectors are wonky. This is just based on the technical drawing, and it's super nice, easy to mate, and it's simplified, so there's no complex geometry or anything going on there. It's nice, easy to use. And then last thing we've got in here is sensors. That's the brush lens color rangefinder and the odos, because those two are pretty hard to come across in terms of CAD. Um, I will say the odos CAD is hard to find since there's no documentation on the SparkFun website. So this is all specs as measured with calipers. So take this with a grain of salt, but it's just a good general sizing thing, and the whole pattern is accurate, so you can just use that as a reference. And then the color rangefinder, obviously, it's a nice point to pull the step from. And yeah, that's about it for BeeBase. We hope you guys enjoy using this. We put a lot of work into this, so we hope it has some rational use for you guys. Thank you.